Hi. We are from Group 3 gonna present about maintaining good health and well-being amid COVID-19. Our group consists of 4 people. Our leader, Loga Sharon, Muhammad Irfan, Afira Syuhaidah, and Aina Aniesha. This in our index slide. 1.0 Introduction, 2.0 Problem Statement, 3.0 Research Questions, 4.0 Objectives of Study, 6.0 Research Methodology, 7.0 Data Finding, 8.0 Results, 9.0 Conclusions and Recommendations. Lastly, 10.0 References.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Irfan. I'm gonna present you about Introduction 1.0. COVID-19 was founded in 2019. The first appearance in Wuhan, China, a vibrant city full of life. The virus crept into the city's population from this epicenter, hiding its nefarious nature under the mask of common respiratory illnesses. Beneath its similarly harmless exterior, however, was a highly potent pathogen that could cause respiratory distress, organ failure, and in the worst situation, even death. By March 2020, COVID-19 had grown beyond the confines of isolated outbreaks into a full-blown pandemic. According to a statement released by the World Health Organization (WHO), the cornerstone of global health governance, the world was united in its fight against an invisible enemy, having once been a vibrant tapestry of diverse culture and tradition. How COVID-19 affect SDG 3. It is emphasized how crucial it is to fulfill Sustainable Development Goal number 3, which states that everyone should ensure healthy life and promote well-being for all at all ages. The pandemic has highlighted the flaws in healthcare system around the world, especially in places with limited resources and the persistent disparity in access to high-quality care. Also, new challenge for achieving the SDG 3 targets.
Thank you. Now I would like to present about the problem statement. Mental health of the University Technology Petronas student during the COVID-19. So the COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on the mental health of the university students. The challenges that are faced are academic disruption, social isolation, economic uncertainties, and heightened health concerns. So Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is SDG 3, that is correlated with our topic, which is mental health amid COVID-19, emphasizes the need to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all. SDG 3 can be used to address the mental health crisis among the university students by enhancing mental health literacy and ensuring access to affordable and quality mental health services. So, in order to achieve this, universities, especially UTP, need to translate SDG 3 principles into actionable policies and support systems. This research includes examining UTP's mental health policies, identifies areas for improvement, and last but not least, proposes evidence-based strategies to fortify support structures for the students. So thank you, and now I would like to move on to the next part. Okay, moving on to the next slide, which is about the research questions. So every report or every project has its questions to achieve its goals. So in these terms, the questions are, what are the main factors that contribute to the mental health and well-being of university students, especially UTP, during the COVID-19 pandemic? Secondly, what are the most effective mental health interventions for university students during the COVID-19 pandemic? And lastly, what roles can universities play in promoting the mental health and well-being of their students during the COVID-19 pandemic? So moving on to the next slide, which is about the objectives of the studies. Okay, moving on to the next section is about objectives of studies. So the objective of this project is to identify the key factors that impact the mental health and well-being of university students during the COVID-19 pandemic. Secondly, it is to evaluate the effectiveness of various mental health interventions for university students during the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly, it is to develop recommendations for universities on how to promote the mental health and well-being of students during the pandemic. So now I would like to present about the hypothesis. Let's go. Okay, so now I would like to present about the hypothesis. The first one will be the increased stress, anxiety, and depression that is experienced by the UTP students during the pandemic are primarily concerned to social isolation, academic stress, and financial crisis. Nextly, the online cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, mindfulness-based interventions, and peer support groups will be effective in decreasing the symptoms of depression and stress among the students during the pandemic. So the last one will be universities should implement a pragmatic steps which are comprehensive with mental health support programs, promote social connections and support, and provide access to evidence-based material health interventions that will have positive impact on the mental health and well-being of the students during the COVID-19 pandemic or after the pandemic, as many of them are still facing academic issues in any environment. So now moving on to the research methodology slide, I would like to present about the data collection from the secondary sources. So according to the secondary sources, I specifically chose article review. So the first article review will be about the impact of COVID-19 on the mental health of university students, a systematic review, which is by Mr. Holmes on 2020. So this article is specifically about the abrupt shift to remote learning, social isolation, and academic uncertainty during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is exacerbated existing mental health challenges and contributed a surge in anxiety, depression, and loneliness among the university students. So the second article will be about the mental health of university students during the pandemic. It is by a multinational study by Mr. Brooks in 2020 as well. So this article is mainly emphasized about the university students worldwide faced a multitude of stresses during the pandemic that includes all the elements of depression in terms of academic, personal, and financial that leads to a significant rise in all types of mental disease. So moving on to the next slide, which is about Article 3, 4, and 5. So as the continuation of the next slide, moving on to the Article 3, which is about the impact of COVID-19 on the academic performance of university students, a meta-analysis by Mr. Liu in 2021. So this article mainly emphasized about the COVID-19 pandemic disruption of in-person classes, the transition to online learning, and the increased stress and anxiety experienced by students. So this article mainly focused about how students react to the transition from physical traditional method to an online learning. It is a culture shock though. So the culture shock brings various type of mental disease among students because they can't cope it very well. So that is this article about. So moving on to the fourth article, which is about the role of social support in protecting the mental health of university students during the COVID-19 pandemic by Mr. Huang in 2021. So this article emphasizes about strong social support networks characterized by close connection with family, peers, and played a protective role in mitigating the negative mental health effect during the pandemic. So this article mainly says about how important the connections with physical people other than online such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on is important. Engaging with them that could reduce your mental health problems. So moving on to the last article, which is about the effectiveness of mental health interventions for university students during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a systematic review by Mr. Wan in 2021. So this article mainly emphasized on the technical side of the ways to cope COVID-19, which is OCB, which is online cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based interventions, and peer support groups, which is implemented effectively, demonstrated the potential to improve the mental health and well-being of students during the COVID-19. So now I would like to pass the floor to the next presenter to present about 6.3, which is data collection from primary sources. Thank you.
In our research journey, data collection from primary source is crucial step. We employ quantitative and qualitative research methods to gain comprehensive insight. For quantitative research, we utilize structured survey and questionnaire. This implement comprise quantifiable questions covering demographic, UTP involvement, and more. Like a scale question employed to assign numerical value, particularly on COVID-19 pandemic. Multiple choice questions help us gather categorical data, exploring aspects such as social distance and response to COVID-19. In qualitative research, we dive into the human experience using open-ended questions. This question provides a deeper understanding of stress relief, mental health strategies, and other subjective aspects. Semi-structured interview and focus group are conducted for in-depth discussion on complex topics. Systemic analysis is applied to identify recurring themes and patterns in response to open-ended questions. By combining both question quantitative and qualitative approach, we aim for a holistic understanding of our research objective. This synergy allows us to paint a comprehensive picture, revealing both the number and narrative that shape our findings. Scanning techniques are crucial for organizing and analyzing our data, providing a structured approach to understand participant response. Nominal scale is employed for categorical data such as gender and role in UTP. It is also utilized for response regarding action after close contact or protecting oneself in sharing space during the pandemic. Ordinal scale is applied to ranking and ordering response like in range. It is used in assessing opinion on how utility managed handle the pandemic and recommended distance for social distancing. Interval scale involving measure interval between response is applied to questions like hand washing duration recommendation during the pandemic. Open-ended questions allow for qualitative insight, providing depth to our understanding of various aspects of the pandemic. Respond to questions about mental health support, infection risk reduction, COVID-19 safety guideline enforcement, stress relief activities, and immunity boosting diet fall under this category. Each scale types contribute uniquely to our study, offering the diverse range of information from categorical to rank and measure response. Our use of varied scale ensure a comprehensive exploration for the multi aspect of the pandemic as perceived by participants.
There are 6 points for questionnaire development, and the first one is establish objectives, where you need to clearly state your goals for the study and the data you hope to collect from the respondents. The second one is literature review. Examine the body of research to find pertinent skills and questions. This guarantees that your survey adheres to accepted research and industry standards. Next is create questions to meet the study objectives. Create a combination of open-ended and closed-ended questions. Aim for precision and steer clear of ambiguity. For the layout of the survey, there are 4 subpoints which are combined inquiries logically. Begin by asking general questions, sort questions into specialized and general categories, and the last one is use skip logic if required. The fifth point is select one of the following response formats based on the kind of question, and finally, the last point is pilot testing to find any problems with question phrasing, response possibilities, or general flow. Do a small-scale test with a group that is representative of your intended audience. For the protesting, there are 7 points which begin with select sample. From the target demographic, pick a small yet representative sample. This might be friends, family, or members of the same community. The second one is conduct questionnaire. Provide the questionnaire either electronically or in person to the chosen sample. The third one is get input, and the requirements to get input are inquire on the lucidity of the questions, post the replies, record how long it took you to finish the survey, and acquire general feedback about the questionnaire experience as a whole. The fourth one is analyze the result. Go over the answers to find any trends or problems. Seek for questions that might cause misunderstandings or confusion. The fifth point is modify the questionnaire. Adjust as needed to ensure clarity and remove any ambiguities in light of the analysis and comments. Next is repeat pretesting. To make sure the adjustments have resolved the problems, Repeat pre-testing if major changes are made. And the last point is complete the inquiry form. After pre-testing verifies the questionnaires efficiency, complete the instrument for comprehensive data gathering. There is an additional information that we provide for questionnaire development and pre-testing, which is considerations. The first consideration is cognitive interviews. During cognitive interviews, ask individuals to express their ideas aloud while responding to questions. This aids in determining any comprehension issues. Next is sample size for pilot testing. Although the pre-testing sample is modest, it should be sufficiently diversified to capture a variety of viewpoints. The last one is ethical considerations. Make sure that participant confidentiality and informed consent are respected, as well as other ethical norms throughout the questionnaire. For sampling, there are 7 significant points of sampling. First is representation. Verify that the sample accurately reflects the views of all UTP members. This comprises a diverse range of staff members and students in terms of age and gender. Second is random selection to prevent prejudice and guarantee that each member of the UTP community has an equal chance of being chosen. Use random sampling techniques. The third one is stratification. If you wish to make sure that certain groups within the UTP community, such as students from various departments or staff roles, are well represented, you may want to think about stratified sampling. The next one is sample size. To get statistical significance, choose the right sample size. The size of the population as a whole and the degree of confidence you seek in your findings will determine this. The fifth one is informed consent. Make sure respondents provide your permission to participate in the survey after being made aware of its goal. Next is survey distribution to reach a wide audience. Distribute surveys through a variety of methods: email, internet forums, and physical distribution in university common spaces are a few examples of this. The last one is anonymity to promote candid and open feedback. Reassure participants that their answers will remain anonymous.
Next, 1.7 Pen of data finding. Google Form was used to conduct the survey to make it simple for staff and students to access and complete. To guarantee a representative sample, the survey link was extensively disseminated across UTP's communication channel. 2 weeks was the duration of the survey to give participants plenty of time to respond. 31 questions made up the survey, which was intended to collect detailed information on the COVID-19 prevalence among UTP employees and students. In 7.0, I will present about our data finding. We have total of 7 categories of questions in our survey. This is example of donut chart for category number 1, demographic. For question number 1, the survey findings show that the respondents' gender representation is generally balanced. The survey which had 16 female and 15 respondents of male. Next donut chart is the question number 2, age range of the respondent. According to the survey data, 23 respondents or more are between the age of 18 and 25. Additionally, there is a balanced representation of 2 respondents in each of the remaining age group. And the last donut chart is role in UTP. Most respondents, 24 respondents according to the survey result, identify as students, while 6 respondents identify as a staff member. 1 respondent omitted to mention their position. Next category is COVID-19 knowledge. For example, question number 4. What should you do if you have been in close contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19? Our data findings said most participants, which is 29 respondents, are aware that if they have had close contact with someone who tested positive COVID-19, the right course of action is to get tested and place them under quarantine. This indicates that UTP community has high degree of awareness of and adhere to advised public health guidelines. Next category is campus safety. For example, question number 7. What's a key factor in preventing the spread of COVID-19 on university campus? And the result is many respondents correctly identified frequent handwashing, 29%, as a key factor in preventing the spread of COVID-19 on university campus. This indicates a high level of awareness on hearing recommended hygiene practice among the UTP community. Frequent handwashing is crucially for eliminating pathogens and preventing the transmission of the virus. Category number 4, personal well-being. Number 5, COVID-19 transmission. Number 6, UTP management. Example for category number 6 is question number 29. How did the management of UTP handle the pandemic in the campus area? We gave them in total 5 options, which is very good, good, moderate, bad, and worse. The most common response was good, 13 response, followed by very good, 8 response. This suggests that the majority of respondents were satisfied with the way UTP handled the pandemic on campus. However, there were also few respondents who indicate that they were not satisfied with the way that situation was handled. Overall, it seemed that the university response to the pandemic was met with mixed review. And last category, general health and safety. That's all for data finding. Next part is result 8.0. Maintaining good health during the pandemic require a combination of individual and collective efforts. Respondents have shown a strong sense of responsibility by following recommended health guidelines, such as regular handwashing, social distancing, and exercising, or engaging in hobbies to manage stress. They have also demonstrated their willingness to adhere to government orders and management guidelines to curb the spread of the virus. Their actions reflect a high level of common sense and commitment to protecting the well-being of themselves and others.
For conclusion, COVID-19 posed unusual challenges for UTP students impacting mental health negatively, which is increased anxiety, sadness, and loneliness were observed, with disparity affecting lower socioeconomic and monetary groups. Social support focused mental health therapies that were identified. For recommendation, prioritize mental health support service, enhancing crisis intervention and counseling, non-neutralizing program, and promote treatment-seeking behavior, align UTP mental health policies with Sustainable Development Goal 3, and address broader socioeconomic factors impacting health, implement initiatives for connected campus community, including community building and online support groups.
This is reference that we use for this project. That's all from Group 3. Thank you for listening.